creatives, for seekers, for starseeds and way showers. Come on in. This is the place to be every Sunday for all your questions on Ask Susan Sunday Live. If you're new here, this is not a dialogue or monologue. It is a conversation. And the conversation we're having today is, are you taking your creations out to play? Are you inviting them out to play? This is August, so it's Creation Month at Congruent Living and Congruent Living Quickies on Wednesdays on my personal page. But let's go back here where we are now. When you come on, tell us where you're from. We have an international community. And if you're watching this later, hashtag replay. You know, I always check in. So let's wait a second for the algorithms to kick in and let people know we are going live. There's something in the air right now that's about creation and being creative and being created, right? So I'd like to start with this question for you. Are you willing to take your creations out to play, right? How many of us have thought that, oh, I'm going to have to create a book or a song or a something, and then we get stymied, oh, I don't know what to create, or we were in a creative mode, or we wait to be motivated to be creative, right? Well, here's a little something to think about. What are you thinking about? Because it's our thoughts that align with the creative energies that create with creations, right? It's our, oh, it's something I got in my eye, sorry. It's our thoughts. You know, what are you thinking about? How many of you have chosen to create something and then kill it in the thinking? You've already thought through, oh, who's going to buy this? Who's going to do this for me? Who's going to, I don't know how to. Hey, Mary Fletcher Farrell. I love that name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So it's really, I'm going to repeat this again. It's our thoughts that align with the energies of creation that have us creating that whatever it is, right? And you know, you've often heard me ask you to please take an aerial view of what and how you're creating and ask, is it working for you, right? Because wanting to create something and waiting for the motivation, waiting for the validity, waiting for the inspiration, actually kills your creations. Now, we are creative beings. We create all the time. So what if you were willing to actually step into thoughts that create what you're actually asking to create, and aligning with those in everything you be and do, in the creative juices and the creative energies, and bring those out into the open with the action of your creations. Hey, Janet, welcome, welcome. So it's really important that we get this, right? Like, how many of us have killed our creations inside? You know, I was writing a book for like 5 years, and it just had to be perfect. It had to be perfect. It never got out there. And it's not that it won't get out there. It's that I've shifted and changed so much. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. So the idea that I had to have it perfect was such a huge awareness for me. Because what were people asking for 5 years ago when I was there 5 years ago, right? And now it's more about taking an aerial view of what I am creating and how I am creating. And it's like, okay, so if this book was done, what would be the fastest way to create with what I'm asking to create with? Well, it would have to be step out of judgment. It would have to be show it to somebody, right? Show it to an editor. Let's see what they have to say. You know, get some information. What's required? Am I working on something that no longer is creative for me? So you see how we actually stop our creations with our judgments, with our looking for validation, with all of that. That is actually something that has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with the creative energies of who we be, what we be, and how we be. It's something we bought into at a very young age when we started to create and show it to people, and we bought their feedback as real and true. So how are we doing? Are we in the right lane here? Let me see some thumbs up, or yeah, you know what? Hashtag, I know what you're talking about. That I've created that for myself too, right? Yeah. Because it's not about buying anything you have done as real and true. It's more about focusing on what it is that you're asking to create, and your creation will be the evidence of your alignment with the energy flows, the creative energy flows, hey Karen, of how you're creating and what you're creating with. Right? So, just to recap, it's, you know, how often do we shut down our creations or what we're creating when we're waiting, looking for, or waiting really, for some sign that this was meant to be, for some validation, right? When in fact, if you're willing to align your energies of creation with your thoughts, right? The thoughts are like, oh, what could this be like? I wonder what this could create, right? Oh, grab a pen, grab a paper, go for a walk. Oh, okay, include your body, right? And then bring that out into your future. Your future is 10 seconds ahead of you. That's all it is, right? And then you're in alignment with the energy flowing through you. And that's why I ask, are you willing to bring your creations out to play? Are you willing to play with them? Or are you thinking in a way that's not joyful, that's not joyous, that's not playful, right? So again, does the world need another book, another poem, that's not the question. Right? How often do we decide what our creations are supposed to be, and then decide what people will think of them, and then keep them inside? So my question for you today is, are you willing to take your creations out to play? Because expansion never ends, right? Expansion never ends. And it's not the creation as the end point. It's the creative juices, aligning with those juices, and tuning in to that source, that inner being, that creative juice of you, and then bringing it out to play. As you bring it out to play, it becomes the evidence of your focusing on what and how you're asking to create, and then that creates more. Right? Okay, let me see, again, I'm checking on this one. We went deep really quickly. Any questions, any comments on your creations, what you're creating? How can I assist you if this isn't clear for you? Because it's important you get this clarity, right? It's your thoughts and your actions. Are they congruent with what you're asking to create? Hey, Jim, welcome, welcome, right? If you don't desire to create, you wouldn't be here, right? We are creative beings, right? And I say, if you don't desire to create, you wouldn't be here. I don't mean here on Ask Susan Sunday Live. I mean here on this planet, right? You chose to come to this planet, right? You chose a body to play with, right? So again, if you didn't desire to create, you wouldn't be acting on it, right? So give yourself that space and that stillness to be with what you are creating, and be with the congruency, the harmoniousness, that thrill, those juices that bubble up inside and give you that joy of being alive. That's creating. It doesn't have to be a thing. Are you willing to take that joy and bring it outside and play with it? Yeah. So, again, wanting creations that you thought you needed, you notice you bump up against something there, right? It's more about, are your thoughts turning into your creations? Thoughts of, oh, that's so beautiful. Like sometimes I'll look outside and I look at the greens on the leaves and the multi hues, and I'm like, huh, so taking that in. It's not that I have to create a painting. It's more like I'm taking it in, right? My thoughts are on beauty. My thoughts are on creation. My thoughts are on nature, right? If your thoughts are on what you can't do, what isn't possible, then you've already created your roadblocks way ahead of your creations. So, all right, I need to see some hearts, some thumbs up. How is this landing for people? Let me see. Sometimes I don't get feedback on these. I get them back into my Facebook physical post. And if that's you coming in later, and you let me know how this lands for you. It's a topic not on creation of something physical, though it can be. It's what comes before that, right? And you might have to re-listen to this a couple of times, because the creation is not the main event. That's not what we're talking about here. It's fun. It's like, oh, look what I created. Yes. Okay, now it's possible, right? The main event is the alignment with your creative energies, right? It's the congruency. It's the flow that creates that main event, what it is that you've just created. Yeah. Cool. Again, listen to this a couple of times. Let me know what you think on this. It's something that I have lots of notes. It's something that I've been playing with myself. There's some things that I started to create that I put a lot of effort and money and investment into, and both my time and my worry. And I'm aware now. Oh, so truth. What was that creation about? Was that creation about me learning more about me and where I stopped myself? That's a creation. Right? That's a congruent creation that gives me the information that perhaps I couldn't have received in another way, or I wasn't choosing to receive in another way. Yeah? Is this making sense? Can I see some hearts and thumbs up? Yeah. So it's really that we are uber creators. We create all the time. We never stop creating. And it's more about focus. Are you focusing in on the energies of what gives you the juices of creation? If you're not, take an aerial view. Here's a perfect example. I'm asking myself to be more organized in a way that works for me with my clients, my client data, with how I work in my week with my business, how many days a week I'm working with my business. What else am I asking to create along with that? And I put it on my Facebook. I cleaned up my office and I put up, here it is. I put up this calendar. I went to the Staples or Bureau and Grow, and I got this calendar and I put it up on the wall and it fell off the wall. I put it up again and it fell off the wall. And I'm like, okay, what is the universe telling me? Am I copying somebody else's way of being organized? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, could I use this for something else? Actually, I could. I'm looking at taking an umbrella theme for every month. This month it's about creation. So I could actually play with it on there. It was almost like the thought of how could I create in a different way, trying something out and with no judgment, and then the information came like right in, the clarity came right in. You don't create like this, like that. You actually create in a different way. Why don't you invite that way to come in? And I wonder what else is possible, right? So again, it's no judgment, a judgment-free zone. It's a way of being present with everything you're asking to be and do, and then bringing that out to play. Like I was willing to play with the wall and this calendar. It's like, okay, let me try it again. I even changed walls. and the universe is like, it's not really for you, honey. So are you trying to create with your creations in a way that everybody else is creating? And how's that working for you? Right? Not so good. Not so good. Any questions here? Anything else popping for people? If not, I will love you and leave you. And I'm looking forward to your comments. Please, please, please write in your comments. It's something that we actually need to do for ourselves, is to be still with all that we are creating and focus on, are we gifting ourselves the thoughts that create, right? Are we tapped in, tuned in, and turned on to our creations, or are we judging them, right? Because as long as you're judging your creations, you're not going to bring them out, right? So it's about playing with those creative juices. It's about aligning with your creative energies so you're congruent. There's a river flowing through you. You're congruent with those creative juices. And then acting on them. Because it's the actions congruent with your thoughts that create the creations. Okay? It's your actions congruent with your thoughts that create your creations. And again, it can be a book, a song, something physical. It can be something intellectual. Whatever that is, we are creative beings. We are source. We are creative. Right? We never stop creating. So is now the time to use your creations to your advantage. Like, what is the world asking for right now? Right? What is your world asking for right now? Yeah. Creativity. Creative solutions, creative requests, creative desires. You get the sense of a world with that in there. Notice there's no answers. It's all about being in the question of those creative juices. Cool. Little housekeeping, come and join me on my personal page, Susan Lazar Hart, where I'm going to be talking about, with Congruency Quickies, 4 tips to co-create with the universe. Right? This is Creation Month. And in that flavor of creation, what would it be like if you actually created that space for you to create an environment inside and out that contributed to all of your creations? That's kind of how I play with Congruent Living Coaching. I'll be with you one-on-one. We sit down, we have that first call in which we find out what it is that you're asking to create. How's it working for you? What, be it your life, your relationship, your business. And then we move into meeting every other week, in which we have home play, we have the sessions are recorded, and it's changing lives. And I'm so thrilled that the way that people are actually committed to changing what isn't working, because now is the time to live in the creative juices. We've just finished the Lionsgate. We're moving into a whole couple of years that are very, very, very intense, and it's about going beyond this reality and creating a reality that works for you, right? And if that sounds like something you're interested, come on over to SusanLazarHart.com to Congruent Living Coaching, read what it's about, and let's have an exploratory call. Let's see what else is possible, because with creation, everything's possible. All right, I adore you. Live boldly, love greatly, and be that fearless leader you came here to be, because the world needs more of you. The world needs more of you. You came here to shout out loud. You came here to be creative, right? Don't stop yourself, right? Ask some questions. And if you have some questions that you just like, ask me, right? Private message me, book a call in with me on Congruent Living Coaching, and let's see what we can create together. I adore you all, and I will see you on Wednesday for Congruency Quickies on my personal page, Susan Lazar Hart. And hey, tell your friends about this, right? Have a discussion with your friends about this. Share it. Let's see what is possible. Yeah. Love you. Bye-bye.